centuries, on the western coast of Africa, thrived a kingdom of unparalleled artistry, complex governance, and formidable power, the Kingdom of Benin. Its name, today, often conjures images of magnificent bronze and ivory art. But behind the beauty lies a story of encounter, awe, and ultimately a devastating conquest by European powers, an act that forever altered its destiny and scattered its treasures across the globe.
Our journey begins long before the Europeans arrived. Founded around the 11th century AD, the Kingdom of Benin, centered in what is now modern-day Nigeria, was not a primitive society. It was a highly organized state, ruled by an Oba, a divine monarch, and sustained by a sophisticated administration and a powerful army. Its capital, Benin City, was a marvel.
European visitors in the 15th and 16th centuries described Benin City as a sprawling metropolis, larger and more orderly than many European capitals. It was protected by colossal walls and moats, famously described as 99% bigger than the Great Wall of China in terms of length and material. Inside, the city pulsed with life, commerce, and unparalleled artistic production.
The art of Benin is arguably its most enduring legacy. The famous Benin Bronzes, exquisite brass and bronze plaques, commemorative heads and sculptures, along with masterfully carved ivories, decorated the royal palace, chronicling the kingdom's history, its obas, and its rituals. These were not mere decorations, they were historical records, spiritual objects, and symbols of power.
The first significant European contact was with the Portuguese in the late 15th century. Initially, trade flourished. Benin was a powerful state, dictating the terms of engagement. It traded pepper, ivory, and cloth for European goods like brass, coral, and firearms. For centuries, Benin maintained its sovereignty, controlling its borders and its lucrative trade networks, including, for a period, the transatlantic slave trade, though it later scaled back its involvement in human trafficking as its moral stance and economic interests shifted.
But the balance of power began to shift in the 19th century. As the British Empire expanded its influence in West Africa, it cast covetous eyes on Benin's wealth and strategic location. The independent kingdom, with its strict control over trade, became an obstacle to British colonial ambitions and their desire for unfettered access to resources.
The pretext for invasion arrived in early 1897. The British acting consul general, James Robert Phillips, attempted to lead an unauthorized peace mission to Benin City, despite warnings from Oba Oven Ramwen, who was engaged in important religious ceremonies and forbade his presence. The mission was ambushed, resulting in the deaths of Phillips and several of his party.
Britain responded with swift and brutal force. In February 1897, a massive Punitive Expedition of around 1,200 British Marines, sailors, and colonial troops was launched. Their objective was clear: depose the Oba, destroy the kingdom, and loot its treasures.
Benin City, despite its formidable walls, was overwhelmed by superior British firepower. The kingdom's brave warriors fought fiercely, but their spears and antiquated muskets were no match for Maxim guns and naval artillery. The city was razed, burned to the ground, its ancient structures and sacred places desecrated.
What followed was an act of cultural vandalism on an unimaginable scale. The British systematically looted the royal palace, seizing thousands of priceless artifacts, the very Benin bronzes and ivories that had chronicled the kingdom's history for centuries. These were not war trophies. They were the soul and memory of a people, stolen, often sold for pennies to cover the expedition's cost.
The stolen treasures flooded European art markets. Today, these masterpieces are scattered across the globe,
forming cornerstone collections in some of the world's most prestigious museums, institutions far removed from the people whose ancestors created them. The Oba, Ovan Ranwen, was exiled, and the once mighty Kingdom of Benin was absorbed into the British colonial protectorate of Nigeria.
The legacy of 1897 is complex and painful. It's a stark reminder of colonial aggression, the erasure of indigenous histories, and the blatant appropriation of cultural heritage. For many, these artifacts represent not just art, but stolen sovereignty, a missing piece of their identity.
In recent decades, there has been a growing global movement for the restitution of these plundered treasures. Institutions are slowly beginning to acknowledge the moral imperative to return what was taken by force. It's a long overdue conversation about justice, history, and the rightful place of cultural heritage.
The story of ancient Benin and what Europe did is not just a chapter in history. It is a living wound awaiting healing. And the path to that healing begins with understanding, acknowledging the wrongs, and returning the treasures that are not just art, but the very soul of a civilization.
If you enjoyed this, hit the subscribe button for more African History Untold.